Hello, and welcome back to another video review, this time for the Suicide Squad. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more reviews like this, and please leave a comment below letting me know if you enjoyed the film. I was going to review the original Suicide Squad film, but I thought this one was way superior than the first, so I chose to review this version of the Suicide Squad rather than the worst. Amanda Waller, an intelligence officer, assembles two Task Force X squads, informally known as the Suicide Squad, which are made up of Belle Reve prison convicts who agree to carry out tasks in exchange for reduced sentences. After their government is ousted in the South American island county of Court Maltese by an anti-American regime, the teams are charged with destroying the Nazi-era facility Jotunheim, which holds the secret experiment Project Starfish. The Corto Maltese military almost wipes out one squad upon arrival, with only team commander Colonel Rick Flag and Harley Quinn escaping. The first squad's ambush serves as a distraction, allowing the second team to enter the nation unnoticed. The surviving crew is led by assassin Bloodsport and includes Peacemaker, King Shark, Polka Dot Man, and Ratcatcher. Waller directs the group to locate Flag, who eluded the military but was apprehended by rebel forces. The crew discovers the rebel base and slaughters the troops, only to discover that Flag was saved by Insurgent Commander Saul Soraya. Regardless of the group's conduct, Soraya offers to assist them in infiltrating the capital and capturing Project Starfish's main scientist, the Thinker. Harley is kidnapped by the Corto Maltese government and transported to Sylvia Luna, the new dictator, who intends to marry her. Harley murders Luna and flees after learning about his plans to deploy Project Starfish. She joins the others in breaking into Jotunheim and rigging it with explosives using the Thinker. Flag and Ratcatcher accompany the Thinker into Project Starfish facility, where they encounter Starro the Conqueror, a massive starfish-like extraterrestrial who generates smaller replicas of itself to kill humans and control their bodies. The Thinker says that Starro was transported to Earth by the US government, which has secretly supported the experiments on Corto Maltese inhabitants for decades. An outraged Flag prepares to release data on a hard drive, but is slain by Peacemaker, who is under instructions from Waller to cover up the United States participation. Meanwhile, a clash between the rest of the crew and the military causes Polka Dot Man to mistakenly set off the explosives. As Jotunheim collapses, the drive falls into the hands of Ratcatcher. Peacemaker tries to execute her for knowing the truth about Starro, but Bloodsport shoots him and takes the hard drive. Starro flees the wreckage of Jotunheim, kills the Thinker and many of the military, and seizes control of the island's inhabitants. Waller informs the squad that their task is accomplished and instructs them to depart. Nevertheless, Bloodsport decides to lead the team in battling Starro. Waller attempts to execute them for this, but her men knock her unconscious. Starro kills Polka Dot Man, Harley pierces its eye, and Ratcatcher summons the rats of the city to gnaw Starro to death from within. Soria takes charge of the administration and promises democratic elections now that the military has been distracted. Bloodsport compels Waller to free him and the remaining squad members in exchange for their confidentiality of the drive's contents, and they are flown out of Corto Maltese. Waller punishes her troops in a post-credit sequence by assigning them to a new mission with Peacemaker, who is healing in a hospital. Harley Quinn was played really well in this film, and I believe Margot Robbie is the ideal choice for the character. She has a more vital job than many people would anticipate her to have, which I appreciate. For me, she's the major character in this film because we seem to get more out of her than anybody else, and she seems to get more done. I appreciate how she makes a passing allusion to the Joker without actually addressing him. I like the moment when she actually believes she is in love and then murders him after being hurt by him, and I just found it extremely gratifying. I guess you could say her character has evolved since the last time we saw her, since she recognizes the red flags in a relationship, understands when it's not healthy for her, and knows when to stop, even if it ends in murder. Idris Elba as Bloodsport is fantastic, mostly because I think Idris Elba is a talented actor who excels in this role. His role has some resemblance to Deadshot from the first Suicide Squad film, although it's done far better. That's not to say Will Smith wasn't fantastic, but he had to work with what he had, and the storyline for the original Suicide Squad was terrible. But the script for this one was much better. Therefore, I believe this sort of character worked better. It was amusing to see how he appeared like such a closed-off person who didn't seem to be affected by anything and had no fear. But then, to have him be afraid of rats is kind of comical. Throughout the film, he gradually opens up a little more and tells us that he has a dread of rats, because when he was a boy, his father would punish him in awful ways, one of which was locking him in a cage full of hungry rats. After that explanation, it's rather clear why he's afraid of rats. In the end, Bloodsport was a far superior version of Deadshot to Deadshot. Following that is Peacemaker. John Cena portrays him. I was pleasantly impressed by John Cena's performance in this film. Usually his acting isn't that great, and it almost comes off as him wanting to be The Rock, but it never works. I believe this character is ideal for him, since he appears to be the type of person who has a great sense of humor, but can still be serious when necessary. In this film, I think he and Idris Elba had a great deal of great chemistry, which made it even better. I will confess that I am discussing Peacemaker after watching the Peacemaker show a few months ago, so my perspective may be skewed. Unfortunately, he ended up being the evil person in the end. Rick Flag appears in this film as well. I don't recall much of his role in the first Suicide Squad, but I truly like him in this iteration. He's officially the team leader and didn't play a significant role throughout the film, although he did play a larger role at the conclusion. It was a shame that he had to die at the conclusion of this film, because I would have liked to see more of him, because he honestly seemed like a great character. The following character is King Shark. Sylvester Stallone plays the role. I've seen many various iterations of King Shark throughout the years, from the Flash TV show to the Harley Quinn animated series, and now this one. This film's rendition is my personal favorite. I say this because he appears to be a truly lovely guy in this film, and while he may lack mental ability, he's still a fine character in my opinion. His plot revolves around him attempting to make friends, since he feels like the odd one out. I really liked the scene at the end where he believed he made some friends with some fish, and I truly was thrilled for him, but it was heartbreaking to see his friends turn on him. Fortunately, he makes friends with several of the Suicide Squad members, particularly Ratcatcher. I know we won't see this guy, or at least this version of him again, and honestly, I wish we could see more of him, simply to understand where he came from and what he's all about. David Dastmalchian plays the next character, Polka Dot Man. You'd think he'd be the silliest of the bunch, but he's not. You almost feel sorry for the guy since he apparently has some interdimensional infection that will kill him if he doesn't treat it. The way this works is that he develops polka dots on his skin, and when he reaches a particular point, he must puke them up or die. It's unfortunate that he gained these abilities since his mother was preoccupied with creating metahumans, and unfortunately it worked on him. But now he has to cope with this problem. He was miserable for the majority of the film, but at the conclusion, he finally had his opportunity to shine, and he helped defeat Starro. Unfortunately, he died, but at least he died happy. The final character I'll discuss is Ratcatcher, played by Daniela Melchior. I enjoyed her character since she could manipulate rats, which may seem nasty at first, but after you understand her backstory and who she is, it's not that awful. She has the ability to control rats, and when she was younger, her father was the one who controlled the rats, and because they were poor, They used the rats to steal things that they could then sell to make a little bit of money. And in the night, the rats would help them sleep at night and basically protect them. This is a pretty unusual power, and it actually helped the movie, which is rather surprising. There are several positive aspects to this film, but I will just highlight those that stood out to me. I really love the action in this film, especially considering it was rated R. They were able to get away with a lot more violence and brutality in the combat. I really enjoy the moment in which Harley Quinn walks around a facility killing everyone she sees. I felt sections of this combat sequence were quite unusual since they substituted the blood with flowers at one point, which I thought was a very intriguing design choice. It wasn't horrible, but it was extremely nice looking. I also enjoyed the humor in this film. The humor in this film appeals to me since it is both well-paced and well-timed. I admire James Gunn and his sense of humor because he is the sort of director that understands when to be serious and when to be humorous. Because of this, there is never a scene that is destroyed by comedy, and I truly wish we got to see more well-timed humor in superhero movies. It's almost as if they were not trying too hard to make us laugh, which I really appreciated. I also enjoy how they used a lot of different characters in this film and didn't squander any of them. The original film's fault was that some of the characters were too generic. In this film, they were all distinct and had their own tales, as well as life inspirations in this one. Also, we don't have the god-awful Jared Leto as the Joker in this one. To be honest, I don't have many complaints about this film. There's only one major flaw that I didn't enjoy. The personalities introduced at the beginning of the film did not sit well with me. I liked those individuals and expected them to have interesting storylines, but they were killed off fairly instantly. Yes, some of them were uninteresting, but the majority of them were. For example, my favorite one was the one portrayed by Pete Davidson, which was Blackguard. I thought he was quite fascinating, and I thought he was pretty humorous for the little screen time he got. It's too bad we won't see these people again, because they're no longer alive, and I simply wish they had played more an essential role in this film. So how would I rate the Suicide Squad in the end? I'd give it an 8 out of 10. There are so many fantastic aspects to this film, such as the comedy of the characters, as well as some of the characters' backstories, and of course some of the action. I didn't rate it higher because I wished we received more of the characters at the start of the film, particularly Blackguard. Aside from that, this film was amazing. The next film I will review is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Thank you for watching, and please consider liking and subscribing, as well as letting me know in the comment section below why you liked or disliked the Suicide Squad.